Last year, the Dreame X50 Ultra was one of my favorite flagship robots, yet it suffered from a fairly big issue that was a deal breaker for some, and that was poor battery life. Has Dreame fixed that with their latest model, and have they made enough changes to justify the upgrade? My name is Jamie Andrews, and this is the latest flagship from Dreame, the X60 Max Ultra Complete. On paper, it looks like a big upgrade with impressive new specs, features, and attractive looks. In this video, I'll put it through a series of my tests and give you my pros and cons. First off, Dreame made a few changes to improve vacuum performance. They redesigned the anti-tangle dual roller brush system with thicker rubber. Second, they upped the Pascal rating to 35,000 pascals, a whopping 15,000 more than the X50. This huge jump is likely due to the addition of a retractable pressure plate that helps seal the vacuum head against the floor. To test this out on carpet, I scattered 54 grams of colored rice on medium pile carpet and set the vacuum speed to the highest level. It was able to pick up 52 grams or 96%, which is a bit above average. Moving on to tile floor, where I placed 130 grams of cat litter and once again set the vacuum power to the highest level. I was very impressed with the results as it was able to pick up an impressive 124 grams or 95%, well above the channel average. Many people want to know about grout performance, so here is a before photo prior to the test, and here are the results right after the test. The grout cleaning ability is very impressive with this robot. Dreame equipped the X60 with a bluish bottom-mounted light they call Proactive Light. It is designed to help the camera detect areas of heavy dirt and debris. I found that it worked well in my testing. When it identifies these areas, it will lift the mop pads, turn off the side brush, and increase the vacuum power, systematically going over the area until it is fully cleaned. Dreame also equipped the X60 with the same dual camera system first seen on the Aqua 10, which also includes a single structured light sensor and an LED light. I run all of my object avoidance tests on carpet because the multicolored surface proves to be much more challenging for robots. Running it through my object avoidance test proves that Dreame is leading the pack when it comes to object avoidance, as it was able to ace my object avoidance test. In my second object avoidance test, not only was it able to avoid both fake waste samples, but it was also one of the only robots to date to properly detect and avoid the hard-to-see white cord dangling from the couch. Dark-colored rugs and carpets can be problematic for robot vacuums as they often confuse the dark surfaces as potential holes or cliffs. If you have dark rugs, then you'll be pleased to know the X60 is smart enough to tell them apart. Okay, let's switch gears a bit and test the mopping system. For this test, I use exactly 4 milliliters of hot sauce, which I apply to my tile floor, and then I use a heat gun to bake it on. The X60 was set to deep mopping mode with the highest water output. It was able to remove all the hot sauce in just a single pass, which is better than most roller mops that I have tested. The X60 is one of the slimmest robots on the market and just a tad over 3 inches high. With a retracting LiDAR, it will be able to get into more hard-to-reach areas than the older X50 could. They also upgraded the Pro Leap system to cross a single threshold of 1.77 inches and a second threshold of 1.69 inches. I found I had no issues crossing my single level threshold of 1.5 inches. Dreame copied the design of the Aqua 10 dock with the X60, and I must say it's pretty darn attractive. They also added the same dual chamber detergent tanks. One side is for normal floor cleaner, and the other is for a specialized pet cleaning solution, both of which are included in the box. As for the water tanks, while I could not find an official size, it does appear that both are slightly smaller, holding roughly 10% less volume than last year's model. Inside the dock sink, we have a slightly revised cleaning system found on last year's X50 model, which consists of a series of high-pressure water jets designed to use pressurized water instead of friction to clean the pads. Now, how well does the system work? Well, these are the mop pads after my mopping test with hot sauce. After a single deep wash with hot water on the dock, it looks to have removed about 90% of the stains. And after a second wash, it might have removed a bit more. Personally, I think the friction systems work a bit better at the expense of having to replace the mop pads more frequently due to wear. One change is with the removal of the inline hot water heater in the dock, and instead Dreame is using these 2 heated plates with a claim of being able to produce 212-degree hot water for mop washing. During the wash cycle, Dreame is heating these two plates up, which pull about 5 amps and 600 watts of power for several seconds. Right after the heat cycle, I pulled the robot from the dock, and I found the center plate to be at about 150 degrees Fahrenheit, with the hottest spot of the mopping pad to be at just 94 degrees. I ran this test several times, pulling it during the heat cycle, directly after, and again at the end, and these were the highest temperatures that I found. There is an option in the app to set hot mopping, and Dreame claims it's 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which helps to cut down on grease while mopping. Right after leaving the dock, I measured the peak temperature of the pads at 107 degrees Fahrenheit. However, after just 5 minutes of mopping, the pads were barely above room temperature. After the pads are washed, they are dried using hot air, and after 3 hours, I found they were completely dry, along with the dock sink. To make the robot smaller, sacrifices had to be made, and sadly that came at the cost of a smaller internal dustbin, which is just 235 milliliters in size. In my auto empty test, I started with a completely full dustbin, and after a single attempt to empty at the dock, all that was left was a few small crumbs. Alright, let's move on to the pros and cons, first starting with the cons. The first con has been a problem with all Dreame robots, so it's nothing new, and that is that the swing out side mop will ride up on my quarter round floor moldings if you have them. I was hopeful that Dreame would finally equip their flagship robot with a fully removable dock tray, making it easy to clean at the sink, but instead they stuck with the same design that requires you to clean inside the dock itself. Their new hot water mop washing system is also a big downgrade from last year's model and fails to produce anything more than lukewarm water. I'm guessing this is a more simplistic design to cut down on cost and potential issues with inline water heaters, but that's just a guess. I also think Dreame should not advertise hot mopping, as it's very misleading. Last is the rather small internal dustbin, which is 40% smaller in size than last year's model. It is a trade-off for having that slim design. While I found the design allowed for 100% usage of the space thanks to the excellent hair compression feature, people with pets might find it will fill up too quickly for them. As for the pros, well, there are quite a few. The biggest pro is with the cleaning ability, which I found to be above average across the board, especially on my hard floors. If you have grout lines like me, this is one of the best robots that I have tested to date besides the Mova Z60. And if object avoidance is important, you'll be glad to know that Dreame has clearly invested in this area. Not once did I spot any issues, and it properly identified all objects in my home. The swing out side brush works better than most robots on the market, and I found it would swing out under cabinets and furniture. Dreame gives you a ton of extra accessories in the box, along with a large bottle of cleaning solution, which is a welcome change that we're starting to see. Finally, I'm pleased to say that the battery drain issue found on the X50 and the more recent Aqua 10, they've all been resolved. It no longer drains this battery just sitting idle off the dock, and I was able to get around 130 minutes of runtime in my home with a mixture of carpet and hard floors. After reviewing several roller-style mops, one thing has become very clear to me. Many people don't want a roller mop on a robot due to the increase in maintenance they require, and I totally get it. If that is you, then you should take a look at the X60. Many will be pleased with the improved battery life, excellent cleaning ability, slim design, and premium looks. The issues I pointed out with the dock are disappointing and certainly don't belong on a flagship product, but I don't think they're deal breakers themselves. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the new X60. Did Dreame make enough improvements, or are the sacrifices just too much? Links to purchase are in the description, and they go a long way to help support the efforts to bring you the most unbiased robot reviews on YouTube. Oh, and before you go, hit that subscribe button. Until the next one, take care everyone. Bye-bye.